we thought that that's what a successful company was, having all these people. And we're currently in the market of like exiting and going through that. And you realize very quickly, people don't care about your business. They care about what do the books say. That's all they care about. Realized golf courses were not our ideal customer because they didn't understand putting money towards ads. They understood social media. We hear that contractors and home service businesses, potentially work off leads, really understand the whole marketing game. Let's go after them. So we transitioned, we started going after those type of individuals and realized we can't sell and we really can't compete with other people. It was the start of us selling, which is what we sell right now, a full-blown marketing system. So it was, we're going to build you the funnel, we're going to run the ads to get traffic to the funnel, you're going to get the leads, and then we're going to process the leads and book them into appointments for you. We're continuously adding, go high level, this back-end system. They've gotten 20 times better. They've added in true AI now, voice AI, just like ridiculous. So we're like, we need to continue to push.
The Accidental Entrepreneur is brought to you with the help of our sponsor, AWeber, the world's leading small business email marketing and automation service provider. Since 1998, AWeber has helped more than 1 million small businesses and entrepreneurs through its suite of web-based email marketing, automation tools, and education. AWeber, the best option when it comes to marketing your business. The podcast is also brought to you by the Alternative Board. Since 1989, the Alternative Board, or TAB, has been one of the leading peer advisory and business coaching organizations for independent business owners and CEOs across the world. By facilitating peer advisory boards, private one-on-one coaching, and strategic planning services, TAB helps business owners improve their businesses in ways that change their lives. And be sure to connect with our affiliate sponsor, GSM Growth Agency. They're boosting e-commerce businesses to 6 and 7 figures in revenue and cover everything from ads and social media influencers to making your website better. GSM Growth Agency focuses on taking businesses from startup success to bigger success, going above and beyond to make sure growth sticks around. They're all about cool ideas, lasting partnerships, and making your mark in the e-commerce world. And be sure to support the podcast by ordering some logo merchandise from our online store. Listen to all of our sponsors' commercials later in this episode and follow their links in the show notes to learn more about their products and services. All right, welcome back to another episode of the podcast. I'm your host, Mitch Beinhacker, and we got a guy from the Chicago area today. We're going to talk to Jake about all of his trials and tribulations and successes. So if you are listening on your favorite directory and you can leave us a review, leave us a 5-star review. If you're watching us on YouTube, subscribe, like the channel, and keep us connecting with guys like Jake. So let's get on with the show.
The information provided in these episodes is for entertainment purposes only. It is not a guarantee of success or to be construed as advice of any kind. You should always seek advice from local licensed professionals before making any decisions.
The dictionary defines an entrepreneur as a person who organizes and manages any enterprise, especially a business, usually with considerable initiative and risk. People often start a business without much choice, perhaps due to a job loss or just being dissatisfied at work, and they come up with an idea they just know can be successful. They become entrepreneurs by accident. That is to say, their success or failure happens by accident, not with intention. My name is Mitch Beinhacker. I'm a corporate attorney and a business advisor. You're listening to The Accidental Entrepreneur, my podcast about how to achieve success on purpose, not by accident. Join me along with our monthly guests, where we share our knowledge and help you get a hold of your business. And now on to today's episode. All right, Jake. So thanks for coming on the show. And I don't know if it's cold, it's freezing out here. It must be colder in Chicago, I would assume, right?
Yeah, it's actually hasn't been too bad the last few days, but we've been in the zeros.
Yeah.
Single digits.
I'm sure when it's cold here, we probably get it from you coming across.
Sorry about that.
Yeah. All right. So let's get into, your history. I know, you're still a young guy, but you've been through a lot of things, a lot of businesses, some fails, some successes. And now you're doing some really cool stuff. So let's go backwards to, I think it was like you're 18, 19, and tell us your story.
Absolutely. So, yeah, I started off when I was 19 years old. I was in school for engineering, And I had always been that product development inventor type of an individual. That's
Hmm.
what led me into engineering. And, as a kid, when somebody was like, what do you want to do when you grow up? I was always like, I want to be an inventor.
Right.
Always really admired those type of individuals. So that led me into school for engineering. And being in school, you do internships, and I had gotten an internship doing the normal 9 to 5 stuff, corporate
Right.
life, and realized that was not for me.
Okay.
So long story short, was like, hey, I'm going to start a prototyping company.
Okay.
Realized you can start a company, but people just don't flock to you. So that led me
Right.
into marketing.
Okay.
Marketing led me into doing that for, other individuals, realizing like, wow, I could do this for businesses. They really need help with marketing. And that kind of just took me, down the rabbit hole from there.
So now at the beginning though, what do you remember some of the things you like prototyped or you tried to develop?
Oh yeah,
Yeah. I
so
hear
I
it.
had used marketing to get my first couple clients just doing free work, and man, we did a lot. I remember we did 3D printed chopstick holders was one of them, a liner for a gym bag that we had to get somebody to sew, and we did like a wireframe. Another one was a drone for
Hmm.
firefighters. That this was back in the day when drones weren't, commercialized yet.
Right.
That it would have been a drone for fire departments to do like search and rescue. So
Ah,
a lot of cool projects, a lot of weird stuff I kind of found myself in.
yeah. Were you doing it yourself or you had people working for you or?
Yeah, so no, it was just me, myself, and I did have a couple friends, engineering friends that were helping me out with some of the projects. And as far as the clients go, they were just kind of got them through networking. And then, like I said, I had ran some ads, basically like, have you ever thought about wanting to start your own product or develop your own product? We can help. We're
Right.
taking on free clients type of stuff. So yeah,
Yeah.
just networking and sphere and a little bit of marketing.
And what was the goal with the free work? Like at what point does it become right where you start charging and were you taking a piece of the action? What were you doing?
Absolutely. Yeah. So the whole point of doing it upfront, and again, I was 19. I didn't
Right.
know what I was doing. I come from a, family of small business owners, but I don't come from, they're not sharks. They're not out there making deals happen. They're, one of them's a doctor. The other one's accounting and CPA. So
Mhm.
like, they're not out there like building businesses, making deals. So for me, I was like, I don't know what to do. I don't know how to charge. I'm just going to build up my portfolio of case studies, and then hopefully that leads me into other opportunities. But yeah,
That did.
that was kind of the reasoning behind that.
Okay, so how long did that go on?
That was about 2 years, a year and a half, 2 years of doing that, free work. And really quickly, I did definitely got burnt out
Yeah.
because it's fun doing work. It's fun, getting involved, but a year goes by, excuse me, year and a half goes by, and you haven't made any money back, and you've put money into it, and it's
Yeah.
like,
That's a hobby. Just yeah.
exactly,
Right.
exactly.
All right. So, but you started kind of transitioning into helping people with marketing, but that you were an engineer, right? I mean,
Yep. So
so okay.
yes. So, part of the, wanting to learn marketing and everything was I actually had started investing into some marketing courses. I don't know if you're familiar with Ty Lopez. Some
Yeah.
people love him, some
Right.
people hate him, but
Right.
he taught a lot of marketing strategies. So I learned a lot there, but he was also pitching like, you can go do this for other people. And being somebody that was like, I want to make money, I want to, be my own boss. I was like,
Right.
I can go do this for others. So really when the prototyping stuff wasn't making a lot of money, I was like, okay, well, I have a background and a history in golf courses. Let's transition, let's do some marketing for golf courses. So really went off the deep end, was like, we're going to have a marketing company. I was working with a friend from high school now, and like, hey, we're going to do social media marketing for golf courses. So we actually, that was the first dollar we made. We had sent out a bunch of flyers and
Yeah.
mailers, just the old
Right. The
traditional,
old, of course.
marketing. And lo and behold, we had a guy that owned 4 different golf courses responded. One of the only
Okay.
people that responded, and was like,
Right.
hey, I could use you guys. Like, let's talk. And that was the first deal we closed. It was for 4 golf courses, and we we're doing the social media posting. So we would go out to the course, we would take drone photos, we would take just regular photos, video,
Mhm.
edit it up, and then post it on their social media platforms. And that
But
was
these are
really our first
public.
client.
These are privately owned but public courses, so people could come and.
Exactly. There were public courses. All of them were public. So it was all really, it wasn't, again, we were new at this, so it was very middle class orientated marketing. We weren't
Yeah.
doing like this prestigious type of stuff.
Right.
Definitely not attracting those type of clients and courses.
So now you said you had a background in golf courses. Well, where did that come from?
Absolutely. So I've
Yeah.
been a lifetime golfer, been golfing since I was 3-4 years old, basically, since I could walk. So for me, it was just like, I know a lot about golf courses, so I can speak to what the end consumer wants, which obviously helps with your
Got
marketing.
it. Yeah. So, but you were basically developing business for them. I mean, you were, right? That's the goal of the marketing, is to bring in people to play golf and pay.
Exactly. Yep.
Okay. So, but it sounds to me like you had one client.
Yeah. So
Did
we,
you get
we had
others?
one client, we got, him through the mailers, and then we were like, wow, this is going great. So we actually we dived in pretty deep. We got involved in, is actually funny enough called a Golf Course Owners Association of Wisconsin. So we
Okay.
were like,
Not
whoa,
surprised.
we're going to join this
Yeah.
and we're going to get all this business. And we picked up probably 4 more clients just from going to their meetings and talking with people, networking. I would cold call a lot too. Back in the
Showing up at the
day,
course or whatever.
yeah, and just say
Yeah.
like, hey, we do X, Y, and Z. Are you interested? Like, again, never been a salesperson, but
Right.
also not afraid to just pick up the phone and ask,
Yeah.
if somebody's interested in our services. So yeah, we got up to about, I want to say 8 or 9 clients at our max, and really got burnt out because we were doing a lot of, again, social media marketing. So it's a lot of content, a lot of video, a lot of pictures, having to physically go out to the courses. And at that time, for some of the courses, we had started running ads for memberships, for people that, would potentially be interested in buying a $5,000, $10,000 membership, and realized, wow, we can get a much higher ROI on what we charge and what they're paying for ad spend by just running these ads, getting them leads, and them selling memberships, versus it's really hard for us to track, the social media posting
Yeah,
and
because it's just
engagement.
PR basically, right? It's just not.
It really is.
Yeah.
It really is. And there's a lot of work. I mean, it's super easy for me to run an ad for somebody, but it's a lot of work to put these posts together. So we actually, maybe it was stupid at the time, but we fired all of our social media marketing clients, doing the content and stuff. And we ended up keeping one of the 8 clients that we had to do some advertising for. And then we 100% focused on building our business, just doing advertising and lead generation.
Right. But they could tie what they were spending with you to what their revenue they're generating, right? Because it was a lot easier to sell, I would guess.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It really became super trackable because they could see, we spent $1,000 on ads. We paid you guys $1,000. We sold 4 memberships and brought back $14,000 or whatever.
Right. Whatever it came to. Yeah, that made sense. All right. But now you're still building because that's what you're doing now. You're doing a lot of marketing and media and stuff like that. So, but did you just keep that one client, or did you transition to other industries?
So we definitely did. So the golf course thing, we realized very fast that although it was working for that one client,
Right.
and I'll tell you what happened with that client, because we kind of screwed that up, but realized golf courses were not our ideal customer because they didn't understand putting money towards ads. They understood social media. So if we would have kept doing that, we probably could have figured that out, but it just wasn't what we wanted to do. We didn't want to
Right.
have a media team. And so what happened with the one golf course client is, again, we were doing mentorships, education, and everybody was saying, hey, you need to charge more because your client's making $14,000 a month.
Right.
You're only charging $1,000. You need
Yeah.
to charge more. So imagine again, we're 20, 21 years old now, buying business clothes from Kohl's, dressing up with a little templated Google presentation, meeting with a board that own the golf course and pitching them on $5,000 a month and how we're worth $5,000 a month. And
Right.
obviously that deal fell through. We ended up, they were like, didn't want anything to do with us after that point.
Oh,
Um,
really?
so we were at zero then. So we were like, okay, let's switch industries. We hear that contractors and home service businesses, potentially work off leads, really
Yeah.
understand, the whole marketing game. Let's go after them. So we transitioned. We started going after those type of individuals and realized we can't sell and we really can't compete with other people. Now, at the time, I had a partner, and that
Okay.
partner was, again, a friend from high school, was supposed to be the sales guy, me being more the back end marketer, that type of stuff. So we were at this time, we had a little bit of money, so we were running our own ads to get him booked appointments. And and we had some cold callers too, actually. I remember at this time. And long story short, he had taken about 15 to 20 appointments and just didn't end up selling anybody.
Nothing.
Like live offers, like good solid appointments, didn't close anybody.
Couldn't
So
close anything. Yeah, I mean, look, that's a lot to be said, right? You go in there and you wet the bed, and that's it.
yep. So we were like, okay, like I mean, at this time I'm pissed because I'm like, dude, what's going on? You're supposed to be the sales guy. So we end up hiring this random guy from a Facebook group to do some sales for us. That doesn't work.
Right.
And at that point, I'm like, I can't do this. I can't keep, at this point too, he's still working part-time through like an electrician apprenticeship program. And I'm completely dropped out of school. I'm all in on
Oh,
this. And I'm like,
you didn't finish school.
I did not. Nope. So I'm like, I'm all in on this. I need to make something happen. So end up dissolving the partnership. We fire the guy from the Facebook group, and I basically start trying to do it myself. Realize very quickly that I can book appointments. I'm not a salesperson.
Okay.
Probably took like another 10 to 15 appointments. Couldn't sell
Before you were
anybody
like, this is terrible.
at 100%. And then I go back in these Facebook groups because I realize like there's a lot of people like me just starting out, and there's a lot of different avatars. There's people that are back end marketer people, there's front end sales people. So
Right.
I'm like, I got to find somebody that can do sales, but I
Yeah.
got to find somebody just as dedicated as me.
But that's
I end
hard.
up, it really is. It
Yeah.
really is.
Who's going to care more about your company than you?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you find that out very fast.
Right.
So end up finding this guy from Chicago.
Okay.
Lo and behold, just like, again, he's a couple hours away. Realize, he's a big sales guy, big background in real estate, a couple years older than me, probably like 3-4 years older than me. And he's like, I don't know a lick about marketing. I don't like doing funnel building, advertising, but I can sell. So I'm like, hey, I'll get you some appointments. I'll get you this cold caller.
Right.
Let's run it. And at the time too, I had started putting this sales presentation together with basically a marketing plan to show people, because I realized, if I can't verbally pitch somebody, I at least might have some marketing material to show.
Okay.
So slap our logo on it, his last name. He's going out there, and I think he took like 3 meetings and he closed one of them.
Okay. That's a
And
pretty good ratio.
we're like, hey,
Better
we
than
could
your
do
buddy. He did 20 for 0.
absolutely, absolutely. So that it really spiraled from there. That took us into booking more appointments for him. We closed some more people. And I think we built up to, so at this time we're doing advertising specifically for real estate agents. He has the big real estate background. Build our agency, our book of business up to about 20 clients paying us $2,000 a month.
And this is
So
basically lead generation. Your marketing you're doing is to bring leads in the door.
exactly.
And it's up to the real estate guys to close them or whatever they're doing next.
Yeah, and at this time too, ISAs, so inside sales agents, were really big. So we were actually selling, hey, we're going to get your leads, we're going to do the lead generation, and we're going to have this ISA follow up and book them on your calendar and actually qualify them. So if they feel like, if your area only has, homes that are above 300K, let's say,
Right.
That ISA is going to make sure they have a budget of more than 300K. Otherwise, they're going to disqualify them. So
Yeah.
we really good
Buyers that
product.
can buy, right? You don't want people that are just kicking the tires and they really don't have money.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. So people, the clients we had, they were bigger producers. Again, at this time, real estate market's doing really, really good. And, again, we book up a solid little book of business. Again, up to about 20 clients, and COVID hits.
Yeah, there you go. Now, you were building funnels for these people you mentioned, like you were doing marketing systems online that would bring in leads, or it was all, and you said you had some cold callers, so it was a mix of stuff.
Yeah, so it was really it was the start of us selling, which is what we sell right now, a full-blown marketing system. So it
Okay.
was, we're going to build you the funnel, we're going to run the ads to get traffic to the funnel, you're going to get the leads, and then we're going to process the leads and book them into appointments for you.
Okay. So everything but the close, like you basically teed it up for this guy, qualified the lead, he had the appointment, you just had to show up. Then take
Exactly.
it from there.
Exactly. Yep.
Now, and what was, I don't know how many clients you're working with that. What was the success rate for the guy? Like, what was his conversion rate? If you, right, he walks in the door, everything's all teed up for him. Hey, I'm Mitch. What was he? How many was he closing?
Yeah, so at the time, again, we're talking 2018, 19
Yeah, because
ish,
COVID hit. That was
I
early
believe.
2020, right?
Again, it's been so long, but they were closing when we had a good agent that was just solid, knew what they were doing, one
Right.
in five of the appointments. So
So 20%.
yeah, like now part of it is some people were getting 5 to 7 appointments a month. Some of them
Right.
that were like, hey, let's just spend a lot of money. Those are the individuals closing multiple homes, but yeah, I mean, again, there were solid leads, really good deliverable, and people were selling homes, and also the market was just really, really good back then.
Right. Okay. So then, and you were really all in on real estate at that point because the guy you brought in, that's what he knew.
Exactly. I literally knew nothing about real estate. Again, I'm 21, 22, 23 ish at this time. So I've rented, but no, absolutely nothing about real estate, no background. Learned, what a buyer is, what a seller is,
Right.
contracts, escrow. Like, I'm learning all these terms, just, literally onboarding these clients and talking to them.
Okay. But just like everything, right? If all your eggs are in one basket and something happens, especially that was as unexpected as the pandemic, right? People stopped buying homes. People wanted to, although ironically enough, I think like in this area, if you were outside of New York City, like upstate, I mean, homes are selling because people wanted to get the hell out of New York and out of Brooklyn and whatever. But I guess that wasn't the case in your case, right?
So funny enough, it is. So the pandemic hits, this is, fresh pandemic. Nobody knows what's going on.
Right.
So everybody pauses.
Yeah.
I mean, we probably had, maybe 3 people that just kept it running, but most of them are like, we're not going to continue to spend $2,000 a month if we don't know what's going to happen.
Right. Of
It's
course.
just the fear of the unknown. So we were like, okay, nobody wants to commit. At this time, we're doing $2,000 a month, 6-month contract. So, $12,000
Okay.
investment
6 months
they're
at a time.
committing to. And that was another piece of it, is nobody wanted to commit. So we're like, we gotta switch things up. Let's try month to month.
Okay.
And let's lower our price to $500 a month, because at this time, a new system had came out, called Go High Level. I don't know if you're
I've
familiar,
heard it go high level. Yeah.
but brand new. We're like, wow, this is a cool system. It can automatically turn these leads into appointments. We don't have to have this ISA. It has this built-in kind of, I get at the time, now it's AI. Back then it's if this, then that, and you're
Right.
setting up these flows.
Right.
So we're like, wow, this system can just automatically book these leads into appointments. Let's charge $500 a month. Let's do month to month, and let's just play the volume game and sign up all these people. So we do that. We have a little bit of success, but we realize now we have a turn issue,
Right.
because people, when they're doing a month to month, we're also bringing in a lower end client, being at a $500 price point versus 2,000.
Yeah.
people are sticking on. People are still selling homes. I remember clear as day, we had one lady outside of Naperville around the Chicagoland area, and she sold a home month 2, month 3 cancels because she didn't get any quote unquote good leads that month. And
That
we're
month?
just like, we can't win. Like
Right.
what's going on? Like, and we can't go back. We can't go back and do the 2000, month, 6-month contract because COVID again, this is full blown and
Yeah.
everything going on. So we're like, okay, our lifetime value is about $2,000. Let's sell this done with you program because we realize there's a lot of money to be made in the volume game,
Right.
but people need to be committed. They need to actually, take this seriously and kind of have a little bit of skin in the game themselves. And, hence the done with you program. So we're
So
like,
it's kind of like, it's not DIY, but it's like you're working with them. They're doing some things, you're doing something.
exactly,
Okay.
exactly. And then
It's a not
the
good
other
idea.
thing too is we can position it as, hey, you're making a one-time investment with us. You don't have this reoccurring, again, they're looking at us as an expense,
Right.
for a lower ticket type of client. So we're like, hey, invest in us. You get this thing for life. You're going to be able to build your business. And that was the offer that we still run to this day. And, again, we've built 7 different businesses on, since then. So it was this done with you offer where you're going to get, we'll build out your marketing. We're going to build out your funnels. You're going to get this system go high level that basically turns your leads into appointments. So, we crushed it. Again, we scaled this thing in real estate. We moved over to mortgage. We took it into solar. We're in home services and insurance. So that was really the pivoting point where we were like, and there's a lot of history in between.
Of course.
I just skipped through, but
No, of course.
yeah, really found this winning offer. Kind of test the time, just tweaking things, figuring it out, and ended up taking it and running with it.
So it's not because I like subscription models. Like right? I like, even if it's 500 a month, you got regular cash flow. You can build businesses on that. So it's not regular cash flow, right? They're buying in once, right? No?
Yeah, no, that's exactly it. So, at the time, we didn't have any reoccurring. Currently, as of today, we do have a support fee that we give them 30 days of support, and they pay us $100 a month
Okay.
for support. So that has definitely helped us build a back end, reoccurring revenue. But yeah, it was really, we went full kind of back in the day Adobe style, Photoshop style, where it's like, hey, you're paying up front for this thing.
Right.
We'll support you and we'll support your back end if you have any issues. And at the time, we're like, hey, it's selling like hotcakes because in the market, it was such a new thing to say, just pay us once and get this thing for
Right.
life. Everybody else is, again, and some of the marketing we used was everybody else is renting you a marketing system. It's time
Right.
you own your marketing system. Again, you're selling houses for people to own. It's time you own your marketing. And
Right.
that took us very far.
But from a business standpoint, that means that you got to keep filling the funnel. You got to keep people coming through. Now, but there's an opportunity though to sell these people other things, right? Other services. I would assume
Absolutely.
maybe you don't do that, but
Yeah, so we learned probably 6 months in that it's yeah, so at the time, we got this winning offer. We end up hiring a sales manager. That sales manager is super hungry, hires within a 6-month period 7 more salespeople.
because it got
And
that busy.
yeah, 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 yeah.
Wow. Holy shit.
And we were just at this time we're running paid ads for ourselves to book appointments
Right.
to sell, them. So like it's like if we need to double the amount of appointments our sales team needs, it's like instead of $1,000 a day on ads, we'll spend 2,000, and
Right.
we
You were
get double the
basically
appointment.
spending ads to get leads for people that you were going to get leads for.
Exactly,
Right.
exactly,
Right.
exactly. So, we're able to scale it, and yeah, we basically I don't 10x the business, 9x the business within
Okay.
a 6-month period. And at the time, we had an outsourced fulfillment team, and everything's running really good. But we get to that probably 4 or 5 months into having this like big team, big operation. And it really does hit where you're like, we have no reoccurring revenue. If half the sales team just
Yeah.
disappears, we're
It's gone.
negative. Like,
Right.
so it becomes very stressful in that regard. And with it all, also it's kind of like this perfect storm where, we had a really great offer, we scaled, and we probably ran 12 solid months with the 8 salespeople just really crushing. Again, we peaked out again at the $1 million month, just like really, really had a good solid thing going. We did introduce some reoccurring revenues, so some back end subscription fees for the software, the
Right.
support, things like that. So we realized, like, okay, we need a little bit of a backbone, but unfortunately, we got to a point where things are so big, and again, at this time, I'm 26,
So this is a
25.
couple of years ago. Right. 3 years
Yeah,
ago. 4 years ago.
and my business partner, he's again he would have been 28, 29 at the time. So again, 3, 4 years older than me, and we don't know what we're doing. We have outsourced fulfillment team. They have 25 in-house US people across state lines that we've never been there. We have these random salespeople from all over the United States, and we have this business with, at the time, I think our channel, our Slack, if you're familiar, it's a
Yeah.
communication platform. I think we topped out at like 80 to 90 people in our Slack and
Okay.
70 full-time people. We're just like, what
Oh yeah,
happened?
and they're all virtual, right? You didn't have like an office or anything.
No.
Right.
The fulfillment, again, the fulfillment team that was outsourced to a company, they did have an in-house office, but
What are
other
they
than that,
fulfilling though?
yeah, what was that?
What you said there's a fulfillment team. What are they
Yes.
fulfilling? If I buy the service, I'm getting a box with stuff in it from some
Oh,
like what am I getting?
so they're fulfilling, so they're doing, they take over everything after the sale. So let's just say somebody signs up with us, they book
Okay.
one-on-one onboarding with our fulfillment team. We'll call them support team is probably a
Okay.
better term.
Okay.
And basically saying, we're going to set up your marketing. We have these questions and an intake form that we're asking them, and then
So you
getting
weren't
them
even doing
acquainted
that. You
with
were
the software.
outsourcing that
We were
at this
outsourcing
point.
that.
Okay.
Yes. So as you probably, could imagine, when things get that big, you scale that fast. Um, and these people were not cheap either. We were paying about $7,000 a person a month.
Okay.
And that's crazy nowadays for a salary.
Yeah.
Again, this was back then. So again, spending a lot of money, making a lot of money, and we get to the point where we start to have some reputation issues because this back end team, there's no quality control.
Yeah, that's the problem.
We have one
Quality.
point of contact that we're like, hey, we're hearing this, we're seeing this stuff online. Why is this customer messaging me? You guys are supposed to be taking care of this. They're like, oh no, they're lying, yada
Yeah.
yada yada,
All the excuses, right?
all the excuses. So we get to a point where we're like, we gotta fix this. And at the time, the sales team had stopped producing as much because this is also when, the real estate market had peaked. We were in the mortgage space as well. So we're like all in on real estate. And again, reputation not helping, and we start to break even every month. 3, 4 months go by, we start to lose. That goes on for about 8 months.
Yeah.
We're damn near tapped out. We've been putting $30,000 to $40,000 a month back into the business every month, and basically we have to shut down.
Yes, you're just not getting any more customers.
Yeah. So we're still bringing on a lot of customers. The issue is we're paying the support team
Too much money.
ridiculous, too much money. And we try to make, when we start losing, we try to make the transition into like, okay, let's bring an in-house team. We tried to set up a office in the Dominican Republic because we're like, oh, we'll just pay them $1,000 a month.
Oh yeah, that'll work. Sure.
That does not work.
That's
That
worse.
that that when we introduced that and had them taking onboardings with clients and meetings with clients, that tanked the reputation as well. So we're just, again, we're 8 months in, we don't know what we're doing, and we're like, hey, we gotta close up shop, we gotta just kind of downsize, and that's what we did. We stopped selling, we turned off the ads, We thankfully had some of those outsourced team members ended up
Okay.
coming in-house because they knew
Okay.
they were going to get let go because we were getting rid of this company. And we had, over those 8 months of losing, we had slowly said, hey, drop 2 people, drop 2 people, drop 2 people.
So they
And
saw it slowly going down.
exactly. And we ended up bringing in some of those individuals that were let go by that company. Lo and behold, find out that they were getting paid about $2,000 a month.
Oh, the
And we're
company's
paying
kicking 5?
7,000.
Jesus. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
you could imagine. So it's not only are we paying a lot of money, they're not doing a good job, and I don't blame them because they're not getting paid a lot of money
Right.
to
Exactly.
do the job either.
Yeah.
So, we close up shop. We have a little bit of reoccurring, so we're able to still fulfill, the clients that did come in. We have a team of about 10 individuals now, and we start rebuilding.
Got it.
And the big move at the time, we were pretty convinced that real estate was just not it. And, the market, again, this is 2 years in. So, we're like, the market, it's super weird. It's very similar to how the market is now. Um, Probably a little bit better than what it is now, but just really, turning from really, really good to mediocre. And
Yeah.
we get into the insurance space.
Got it.
And
Like what?
now
Like health
it's like
insurance, property casualty,
exactly PNC life,
P&C.
IULs,
Got it.
annuities, all that stuff.
Okay.
And at this time, we're like, we have such a solid product. We have a solid team now. Everybody's in-house, just dedicated. And we launched this insurance branch, and it kicks. It does really well. We have a little bit more reoccurring now than we did before.
Right.
And that was really the start of getting
Like
back to where we are now, which
2.0,
is what was that?
like 2.0.
Yeah, 2.0.
Yeah.
We've used that term. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Why don't I stop you for a second, Jake? Let's take a commercial because I think we're at a good point because I want to talk a little bit about strategic planning and, the fact that, knowing your numbers and knowing stuff, but you got through things that most people don't get through. So let's take like a minute break or something for some commercials. Put me a little bit of money, and
Absolutely.
then we'll come back and we'll get into that. Does that make sense?
That sounds good.
All right, sounds good. Hold on. Find the commercials there. Here's a word from our sponsors.
Looking to market and grow your business? Or perhaps you're just getting started and want to hit the ground running? AWeber is the best choice for online email marketing and automation of your business. From maintaining a subscriber list to drip campaigns and landing pages, AWeber gives you tools and integrations that make marketing easy and fun. As our partner and sponsor, we use all their tools to promote the podcast and market our law firm. AWeber, the best alternative for online marketing.
For over 30 years, the Alternative Board, or TAB, has built a thriving community of forward-thinking CEOs and business owners who want to radically improve their companies. Through unique combinations of one-on-one business coaching, participation in monthly TAB board meetings with other non-competing owners, a suite of strategic tools, and customized strategic planning workshops, TAB membership can deliver greater strength to your business and a better work-life balance for you and your family. All packaged in a streamlined and affordable service that the people at TAB invite you to try risk-free.
Are you struggling with managing advertising due to a lack of time or expertise? Perhaps you're facing challenges in scaling ads for your store. Are you feeling lost when strategies have no success? GSM Growth Agency is your reliable partner in overcoming these business challenges. Feel the impact of collaborating with a team dedicated not only to short-term goals, but also to building long-term partnerships and achieving sustained success. Embark on an exciting journey to redefine the possibilities of e-commerce and create a legacy of unparalleled excellence. Take decisive action now. Follow their link in the show notes to receive a complimentary audit of your Shopify store conducted by a GSM expert. Propel your e-commerce game to new heights with GSM Growth Agency.
Follow the link in the show notes to learn more about all of our sponsors. And now back to our show. All right. So what we were talking about, offshoring and offsourcing and bringing them in-house and everything. Yeah, I understand. I use my VAs in the Philippines, but I use an agency in New Jersey because I don't want to how do I, you know, support these people? I don't know.
Absolutely.
And it's working, but that's just for in-house stuff. So, okay. So you made a transition to insurance,
Yes.
lead generation for the insurance industry.
Lead generate. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I mean, at this time, again, reputation, everything aside, we're still like, we literally use the same system that we're selling for ourselves. We're continuously adding, go high level, this back end system. They've
Mhm.
gotten 20 times better. They've added in true AI now, voice AI, just like ridiculous. So we're like, we need to like continue to push. Let's get out of real estate. Let's get into insurance. And we put that together. We bring in some tests. We network. Thankfully, a couple of the salespeople that worked with us were now insurance agents. So we talk with them. We do some free marketing for them. And basically we're like, wow, this is crazy. This is awesome. Let's
Right.
get into insurance. And it does really well.
Yeah.
So we're like, let's be responsible this time. Let's take it slow. And this time too, we can't scale fast because we're doing the hiring, we're doing the training.
Right.
It wasn't like this outsourced company where they would slap people on like nothing and had
Right. They didn't care.
had people.
It's
So
revenue for them.
exactly. So we build the insurance branch up to 4 salespeople. So each one's doing anywhere from $40,000 to $50,000 a month of cash collected.
Okay.
So again, we're kind of back. We're kicking. We're finally, green again. And
But these are still not like clients that they're spending money with you every month. This is a one-time do it with us, you mentioned, right?
yep, it is. But this time we're doing things a little bit differently where they are
Okay.
paying a little bit more. So now we charge, and this is the same pricing we have now. On our low end, we have $100 a month support. On our high end, we have a dedicated account manager for $500 a month, $497 a month. So,
Okay. Yeah. Well, so
so
I'm curious though, because we were talking a little bit before the break about like planning and how you strategically plan out. So
yep.
at the beginning, you were probably winging it. You're adding these things and it's kind of working and you don't really know your costs and then you're losing money. So when you went, because now you're more experienced, right? So
Yep.
when you're going into a different industry, what did you do? How'd you plan it out to figure out, well, is this going to be profitable or not?
Absolutely. So we had gotten very good at crunching numbers and understanding, what does the back end look like and what do we need to be profitable? And
Yeah.
our reoccurring, if we can, have a 50 to 60% margin on our reoccurring, we're still bringing in these upfront fees that, that's just, where a lot of our business is coming from. But if we're not losing on the back end and our team can be supported by that, then we're good. And thankfully, again, we at the time had probably about 5 to 6,000 signups from the 1.0, we'll call it.
Okay.
So a lot of those people were still paying us for support, still paying us for the software fees. So we had
That's
some
100 a
recurring
month. That's
revenue.
50 grand, right?
Yep, and
That's money.
exactly. And we got to the point where our in-house team, again, we were at that 60% margin where, we're green, we're paying off a little bit of the debts we had, and everybody's being paid. We're just very solid. So for us, we're like, okay, as long as we keep everything in check, we continue to charge for the reoccurring, which we bumped up just to have a little bit more of a margin.
Yeah.
We're like, this thing can work. We just have to do it better. And that's basically what we did. We did it slower and better. So only hiring about one salesperson every 2 weeks and started just slapping 4 or 5 in there at a time, seeing
Right.
if they work. And then really being conscious of who we're hiring, not over hiring. We got to a point with the 1.0 version where we were spending all this money on hiring marketing interns and this is in-house. This isn't even for our
Right. I
clients.
understand.
Like,
These are some of the mistakes you were making as a business
yeah,
owner.
like we're like,
Yeah.
oh, we need to have a bunch of people. We need to have this big business, have 15 people on our marketing team in-house doing
Right.
all this crazy content. And
Is that because
obviously,
you had the vision that that's what a successful company looks like, or
that's yeah,
kind of?
that's what we thought that's what a successful company was
Right.
having all these people. And
Right. That's not.
we're currently in the market of like exiting and going through that, and you realize very quickly people don't care about your business. They care about what do the books say. That's all they care about.
Right.
So again, we're back in this 2.0 era. I'm doing the marketing and the ads for the business. Super, just running everything very lean. Again, under 10 team members, and we scale. So insurance goes really well. We give it about 4 months with the 4 salespeople. Everything is just very stable. We have this new accounting firm that they come in and they see our business and they're like, wow, like you guys actually have your shit together. And like this is everything's very solid. At the time too, we're very conscious and open with them about what happened, and like, hey, can you guys do some financial audits and just look at our books and everything. So we kind of get the green light where we're like, you guys kind of are on the right path with this 2.0. Green light to scale, and that's what we did. And we ended up going back into real estate and mortgage under a new brand because again the other one was just crap at this point. So kind of again did a 2.0 reboot in real estate, built that up to about 4. I think we currently have 5 reps on there now actually, but at back then 4. That a year goes by, we're cruising, we're not redlining anything, and now we get into home services. From home services, we got into online businesses, and then health and wellness is what we're working on right now. So again, and
Health and
that
wellness
was
is what? Like people are selling supplements online, or
so that
what's health and wellness?
yeah, so that's more, coaching businesses,
Okay.
online service providers. Not that's the one thing we stay away from is e-commerce. So people selling supplements,
Right. You're not
clothes,
doing
that
that.
kind of stuff. It's everything we do is book, leads, booked appointments, back end CRM, deal management, that kind of stuff. But yeah, so we get the green light, we scale, and that really takes us to where we're at now, which is a very lean company. Still have a little, a solid amount of team members. It's not as lean as it could be, but very stable. We made the right hires, have the right individuals in place, and again, now we're just kind of at the point where looking at what does it look like to exit,
Right.
getting acquired, doing something like that. And it's kind of nice. I feel like now we actually have a business that supports the lifestyle we want to live, and we're actually owners of the business versus before. I feel like we didn't know what we were doing, and we were working in the business, trying
Yeah.
to do
You're an employee
everything
of a
with
business
all
just happen to own. Yeah. Exactly.
exactly with
Yeah.
all these other team members, and we're working alongside of them. So we've been thankfully able to transition, having this business with whatever happens with it, again, exiting, or if, we just continue to run and that doesn't work out. And we've transitioned more into coaching, consulting, and actually looking for JV partnerships of, if somebody's in the position of doing 10, 20, $30,000 a month, that's
In
awesome.
your business. No.
So this is like kind of an extension of everything that we have now, where it's
Okay.
we have this system, we have this back end. So
Right.
all of these industries we're in are an individual brand.
Okay.
And so think of an octopus with a bunch of legs. We have all
Yeah.
these brands that run into this back end. So now it's like, we've kind of tapped out all the industries we can get into. We're in real estate, insurance, which is kind of financial services. You
Yeah.
have home services, you have online businesses, health and wellness. We're like, how do we grow? So we have this system, this machine that supports all these brands. What if we plug in these other brands, these other businesses that they need help scaling, they could use the structure, the back end,
That's what you're talking about, joint venture.
everything. Yep. So now it's really become this joint venture where we're looking and we're networking and trying to find individuals that have really good offers, really good products that can really plug into our machine, we'll call it.
So you're not
And we
necessarily acquiring them, but they're kind of using your back end.
exactly. So the two that we've done so far, it has been on a equity basis, so we are taking a percentage.
Oh, okay.
We've played with the idea of kind of playing the role of that other fulfillment company that we had in the beginning at 1.0. I think with where we're at, where it's not a money motivation anymore, it's a growth motivation and building, something that we can, again, either exit or pass along.
Yeah.
And for us, I get more excited about having equity, being a partner, and having to actually being able to pull levers in somebody else's business because of the experience we have versus just getting a paycheck from them.
Right. Okay. So this is a good point then. So
Yep.
you made a lot of mistakes. You learned a lot of things. So I'm not going to even ask you what you things you did wrong. You already
Yeah,
revealed those for the first
absolutely.
half of the show, more 40, 50 minutes. So what would you say that you see that people do wrong when it comes to their marketing? And I'm asking on two levels, right? Because one is you have people you work for, you do lead generation. And the other one is you got people that are coming on board and you're fixing their marketing too. So I don't know if the answer's the same, but
Yeah,
what kind of things do you see that people do wrong on a regular basis?
absolutely. The overarching thing, besides for on the client side,
Yeah.
it's a lot of old school stuff. Our team is constantly like, we have a specific way of marketing specifically for our clients, no matter what industry they're in. We know what works. We know what images work. We know what videos, graphics, that kind of stuff.
Okay.
We get a lot of people coming in that want to run ads that probably would have worked 15 years ago, but don't work today because people just, it looks old school. It looks boring. It's got too much. Think like old school flyer with just a bunch of text. They want to
Right.
post that and run that as a Facebook ad or an Instagram ad.
Right.
It's like people just don't click on that. So that's
Like just lost your mic. Did something disconnect? No. I have no idea. Wait, are you muted? No, you're not muted. Okay, wait a second. No. Still recording. Let me see. No, you're not muted. Yeah, we like just lost your microphone. I see you. See your mouth moving. Nothing. Let's try
is
back.
that
Yep, now you're back.
okay. I'm
Okay.
sorry. I don't know what happened.
That's weird. Okay. Oh, it's live TV, right? Whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you were saying, so you see that people they're just not up to in terms of the times. Yeah.
100%. Not and so it's not either not being up to par in terms of the times, and then just overarching marketing is not speaking to the end customer and
Mm-hmm.
not reverse engineering and maybe again, weird world, that's why I like marketing. But you really have to reverse engineer how is the consumer going to digest the marketing I'm putting out?
Okay.
Because if just if I was like, I don't care about the end user, I'm just gonna make an ad for what we do, it's gonna say, we run high converting, low CPM advertisements to help you generate high intent leads that are guaranteed to close and get you a high return on ad spend. The end user didn't even understand half of what I
Right.
just said.
Exactly.
So I need to say, we're going to help you generate appointments that help you close more policies. Very easy to digest. And
Right.
that's what the end user wants. And we see that mistake. So that, I use us as an example, but
Yeah.
for our customers all the time where they want to tweak their marketing to say something specific. Again, I'll use health and wellness as an example.
Okay.
They'll use words like, Manjaro and, that kind of stuff, which everybody knows what Ozempic is, but nobody knows what Manjaro is. So they think that they can advertise specific things, specific services in a specific way that they understand, but
Right.
an average person doesn't even know
Right. Well,
what
it's
that
common
is.
in the professions, right? Because you might put out your like my law website. I might say specific things about whatever I do, and people are like, I don't know what the fuck that means.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So that is the biggest mistake across the board that we see
Okay.
is not dimming it down for the end user to be able to understand.
Right. And it's not like making it dumb. It's just that these people don't do what I do for 32 years, 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, sometimes 6, right? I mean, I
Exactly.
think that's one of the things sometimes I've done that before where I've said, we're rewriting a website and I take it to a friend who knows nothing. And I said, well, what do you think of this? And they would say, I have no idea what that means. And to me, I'm like, that's a great page. Even my web people liked it. I'm like, yeah, but it's not resonating with the people. So you think that's because they don't test, they don't ask, they don't, check with their clients?
I think they're practitioners and they're not marketers.
Okay.
So they're
point.
so used to working and doing what they do best, which
Right.
is, and a lot of the people that come to us do work off of referrals and have a solid book of business, but they want to grow and they've maybe dabbled with, marketing, but they've never done what we do, which is like direct response advertising,
Right.
social media ads. And so they don't understand that when we're doing that, we need to get a return. We're not just, pissing it away on views and clicks and impressions. Like we want to get you booked appointments. That's how we track success. And they've never done marketing like that. So they don't understand that you need to craft the message for the end user.
Got it. I think the best business owners that I've worked with, even people that have been on the podcast, they're asking their clients all the time, why are you buying from us? What attracted you? And even when they get the answers, they still keep asking because it changes.
Absolutely.
Right? What resonates today. I assume when you're working for a customer, right, you're changing their ads up all the time and you're testing and stuff like that. And is that common also with the businesses that you're joint venturing with, that they're struggling with that too, or is it something else?
With those, yes and no. A lot of the businesses that, especially that we look for, obviously we want to make sure they have a good product, but we also look for what we call a blue ocean offer,
Okay.
which is it's not something that's super popular. It's got a unique twist. So I'll explain. If somebody came to us and was like, "We do Facebook ads for people," it's like,
Okay.
cool. I could find 1,000 people
Right.
at
What
my
are you going to do with
fingertip
that? Right.
that do
Yeah.
that, right?
Yeah.
I
Right.
got a neighbor that does that
Yeah.
on the side. But if somebody comes to us and says, I do Spotify ads, well, hey, like not a lot of people do that. That's a unique offer. We can work with that person to say, okay, like you do Spotify ads, let's tweak that a little bit and say, we help, what industry do you work with? Okay, we work with real estate agents. Awesome. Real estate agents get high intent, qualified, booked appointments with buyers off of Spotify. It's unique. It's got a ring.
Yeah.
People have tried Facebook, they've tried Google. Nobody's tried Spotify. I'll give that a try. And that becomes a blue ocean offer because you're separating yourself from the pack. So that's really what we look for is we look for somebody that actually has a unique deliverable that we can scale. That's another thing too. It might be unique, but if it's such a weird niche down type of an offer and we don't feel like we can scale it, sometimes people are just better off being their own, having a little book of business, kind of being more of a consultant than a business owner and having, 20 clients rocking that out
Can scale.
and
Sure.
you can still make a lot of money that way too. So
Yeah.
it's something we definitely vet. We don't just bring anybody in because there are some key points that we look for.
All right. So I appreciate the time you're spending with me. And I'm sure there's people out there listening who are maybe in the industries that you work with or whatever. And they're like, I want to meet Jake and I want to get, more leads. And I don't know if there's anybody feel that they don't have enough business. That's none of that going around. So what's the best way people get in touch with you, learn from you, connect with your company?
Absolutely. Yeah. So just jakesutterland.com. We have everything on there, everything from some of our just free knowledge, coaching program type of stuff, all the way up to information about the JV program. Everything we do on the marketing side too for our customers, everything is on there.
Okay. Well, I appreciate you coming on and we'll go to credits now, but let's definitely stay in touch. My son's from Indiana and used to work in the Chicago area. So I
Beautiful.
little place in my heart for you guys out there, especially when it's cold.
Absolutely. I love it, Mitch. Thank you so much for having me.
All right. Thank you, Jake.
Yep. Bye.
Thank you for listening to this episode of The Accidental Entrepreneur. Opening and closing music written and performed by Howie Moskovich and made to order music. For information about Howie and his music services, please follow the link in our show notes. If you like the podcast, please tell others about us. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, on Amazon Music, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and most of the other podcast directories. If you like what you hear, please leave us a 5-star review and feel free to share our episodes on social media. If you have any questions or comments, ideas for the show, or you'd even like to appear as a guest, reach out to us by email at info@beinhackerlaw.com.
The Accidental Entrepreneur is hosted by Mitch Beinhacker and produced by Beinhacker Law. If you'd like to learn more about our business and legal services, you can find us on social media or visit our website at beinhackerlaw.com. Thanks for listening, and be sure to subscribe to our feed to be notified of all future episodes.